The most important thing that a strategic leader brings to a complex organization is the ability to visualize this organization at what I call the deep horizon. You have to be able to think about what makes this organization successful in close, what you're going to have to do to move the organization into the future so that it can be successful over time, and then you need to be thinking at the deep horizon. How will this organization be relevant over the long term? When I took command of the war effort in Afghanistan, the entire theater of war, within 1 hour of my taking command, I convened in my headquarters and in my conference room all of my commanders. And I owed them my vision for how this war was going to be fought. And so we began by reviewing the political objectives laid upon me as the commander by the President of the United States and the Secretary General of NATO. And I explained how my vision of those objectives should then shape our campaign plan. And I expected every one of them, as I told them, I expected every one of them to ask me questions when we met like this. Because from my perspective, again, while I was going to lead a command, and everybody understands the hierarchy of command, from my perspective, the best commands were those where every commander at every level felt comfortable in talking to me. And that was where I gave them my single admonishment, which was, we've got troops in the battle space. They're fighting every day across all of Afghanistan, from the mountains of the Hindu Kush to the deserts of the Baluchi Plain. And I wanted those troops to see their generals. And I wanted every general in this headquarters, and there were about 50 of them, to get out there with their troops and find the most dangerous spot on the battlefield and share that danger with their troops. Because you know what? These kids were putting their lives on the line to execute the orders of these general officers. You better get out there and find out what life is really like in 120 degrees. Now, to that extent, then, a leader in an organization that is complex and is diverse and is deep is going to have to be, one of the most important qualities is a change leader. Someone who can see the realities of the organization today, visualize what's coming at that organization over the long period of time, and help the leadership within that organization begin to change, ultimately to adapt to a changing strategic environment. And it doesn't mean necessarily that the leader personally thinks about the innovation, but creates an environment where people feel comfortable innovating themselves. And where I know Tom Brokaw had in his mind a certain element of the American population when he used the term greatest generation, I'm here to tell you, we are living again amongst the new greatest generation. And I've seen these kids lift up off the ground under machine gun fire and go forward, knowing that the great likelihood would be that they wouldn't survive the day. And when I think back upon the complexity of these wars that we've been fighting, and when I watch these troops in action where some element of one operation or one unit is in a heavy firefight moving forward with discipline and enthusiasm to accomplish their mission, another element has dropped off to help families that have been tortured, that families and women and children who have been deprived of just the very basics that they need for life. And so in one spot, just a couple hundred meters away, there's a battle raging, and in another spot, the same Marines or soldiers are saving civilians in the midst of battle and sending them to the rear where they'll be protected. That, to me, is an indication of the new greatest generation, and we should be very proud as a people